Okay, this will be the first time I've ever actually done this and actually shown you what products we used to correct the car. And rather than me get it out and put it all on the counter, I'll just walk around the store and kind of show you each individual product in case you wanted to replicate what we did from start to finish. So Bryce doesn't believe I can do this all in my head, off the top of my head, but he just doesn't know any better. So what we started with, and I won't go through the pressure washer because that's a whole nother thing. You just search pressure washer. Actually, probably best if you wanted to know about my wash bay, just search wash bay on the channel, and you'll see the Krenzel pressure washer and the piping and all of that stuff. But there's lots and lots of pressure washing videos on the channel. But from a detailing product and detailing tool perspective, we're going to go over that right now. So we started with washing the car using the foam can and Decon soap. So you're probably fine with, unless you're doing a lot of cars, with a 32 ounce. Of course, on my cabinet I have a gallon and a 32 ounce bottle, but I'm using this in the bucket and foaming the car with it after rinsing it. And we're using this soap and using one of these pads. So this is a Microfiber Madness Incredipad XL. This was OG follower. I think it was it David Nuremberg who reached out to Corey. We talked about it, and I was cutting apart different sponges from the rag company and others to try to figure out what to do, because they only had the mitt. And I'm not a big fan of mitts. Actually, Matt Schulman used the mitt in the video, but I like the pads. And so you want an Incredipad, Microfiber Madness Incredipad. Obviously, we stock a lot of these and sell a bunch of them. But this is truly OG spec. The guys from Microfiber Madness, imported through Korea Car Pro USA. Sky's the Limit Car Care is who I buy these from. Adam's soap would be something we would use in a normal wash, but we want to use Decon soap in order to hopefully strip off wax, things like that when we're going through the process. Sponge, Decon soap. From there, we want to remove the iron, and so I used some Car Pro iron remover because I had some left over. We stock Optimum Ferrex. So Optimum Ferrex is something you would need in order to remove the iron. Very similar products. They both have, I think it's sodium diglycolate that is the iron removing part of the chemical. That's that real stinky smell that you get. We need some. We're waiting on our 17-ounce bottles to come, but you'd want a 17-ounce bottle. And you definitely want a gallon of this stuff, because if you did, a single car, you'll probably blow through an entire bottle of the stuff. So, but the only time I ever use this is when I'm decontaminating. So we use this product. After that, the next step of decontamination is to auto scrub the car or clay the car. You could use a traditional clay bar. We do have these. Very few companies still making clay bars. A lot of the detailing companies have gone away from it, but we use Adams. You could use the Adams clay bar, and then use Nanoskin Glide. Dilute this down 7:1. I also have Glide gallons. This will make, I don't know how many, but a lot of this 16-ounce bottle will make a whole lot of products. So usually we just sell these, but you could use that with a clay bar, or what we used in the video was, and used on Adam's car, was use the Auto Scrub Nanoskin sponge and use the fine grade. We also used the strap and bigger pad, the foam pad. You could put this on your polisher. We find it's much more efficient to just put it on the darn hand strap and do it that way. So then we came back over here after drying it off. We used this drying towel over here. We used a few towels to dry, and also used an Ego blower to blow off what we could. It's hard to blow off the car when you've stripped off everything and remove all the contaminants. But we used some of these orange twist loop towels, as well as the big waffle weave drying towel. I think we used 3 of these on the car, and we used a couple of those to dry the car while we were, before we headed over here to the garage. And then, because we drove it and did a little pool, we'll call it a little pool on 441 here. They got a bunch of dust and dirt on the car, so we needed to wipe it down. I actually put a little bit of Optimum No Rinse which I'm not a huge fan of putting any kind of polymers on the car prior to polishing, but I found that this doesn't interfere. So I mixed up 2 gallons of water, wiped the car down, and I used a little bit of OptiClean as well, which is just the kind of the detail spray or waterless wash version of the rinseless wash O&R. And I used a few of the wheel towels, and mainly use some of these blue drying towels and these pluffles. I'll use these two a lot when I'm doing waterless wash type stuff, or sorry, rinseless wash type products. So we didn't clean the wheels, so I won't go over all the wheel cleaning stuff. You could just go to the website and just look at the wheel and tire area. So we didn't do any wheel and tire cleaning on the car like we normally would. So I didn't use the P&S brake buster and didn't do any cleanup there. They're new wheels, so we knew we were just going to wipe them down when they were off the car. We did an off the car coating. So after the cleanup, the car was here, we then wiped the car down with CarPro Eraser. CarPro Eraser is an isopropyl alcohol-based cleaner. It smells a little bit better. It's a really expensive version. I think you want a 32 and a gallon of this. This we use to prep the paint. I use to prep it also before coating. In the polishing process, this is the bottle of stuff you want to have laying around. You can clean windows with it. You can do a lot of things with CarPro Eraser, but that's prepping us for polishing. I'm using that, and back over to the microfiber towels. We're using that and a bunch of the 16 by 27. This is what the rag company calls the car wash towel. I call them polish removal towel. This is a 320 GSM 80/20 microfiber towel. They're like $1.90, I think we sell them for. I sell them at the same cost as if you were to buy 20, I think it's 25 from their website, for individually. So they're $1.90 a piece. And I think you want to have like 20 of these in your cabinet, because if you're polishing, you want to have a bunch of towels that you can revisit. You're wiping the polish residue off the bottle and using it to clean your hands and all kinds of stuff. So I want a lot of these. We actually ended up running out of these because we had so many people working, and then I just switched to red, which is the same towel. But generally I would use this for wax removal. So we're using those towels to remove polish and wipe the car down. During the process, you saw me using the LHR 15 Mark III primarily. So this is the latest version of 5-inch machine. They also make 21s, or 21 millimeter orbit. The 21 millimeter orbit is balanced and designed to use with a 6-inch backing plate and 7-inch face pad. I find that to be too big, especially on modern sports cars. So I'm using the 5-inch backing plate with a 6-inch pad, much more efficient. 15 millimeter orbit is plenty. You'll find 9 times out of 10 most detailers would prefer to use this tool. So we were using this. I just sent my 3-inch out to get serviced. These are brushed motors, and so the brushes need to be replaced every couple of years. The cool thing about Rupes is it's $85. $85, you can send it back to them, and they send it back to you. They prepay the label and take care of your machine, send it back to you, almost brand new. Anything except for changing the electric motor, all the other parts and pieces they'll replace if necessary for $85. So I used that. We used the 3-inch version, and then we used this. You saw me using this a ton, but this is the LHR 75. This is the 15 millimeter 3-inch pneumatic. So really long throw, really smooth. The only thing is, most of you watching this probably don't have a monster air compressor. You can't run this off of a little Pancake or a little Craftsman compressor or something like that. You need, something with 15, 18 CFM plus and some headroom. Even that my 5 horsepower 80 gallon is running to keep up with this thing. This needs at least 12. This draws 12 CFM at 90 PSI, but an amazing tool. Some of the other guys, because we had so many people working, we grabbed and used some of the other tools. We used the triple action versions. We never got the Duetto out. I use this for finishing at times. But what we used on these machines were these two products. We used Jescar Correction Compound to start. And we used it, let's go around the other side and I'll show you the pads. We used Meguiar's microfiber cutting pads in 3-inch and 5-inch, and a few of the guys use the 6-inch pads, but we're using these microfiber cutting pads. We see it all the time where people will buy one pack from me, or they'll buy one yellow pad. That's not enough to do a car. We used 8 or 9. If I was doing it myself, I'd probably use at least 6 pads. You want to change them out after every couple of panels. So you're going to want 6 of these, you're going to want 6 of the 3-inch, you're going to want 6 or 8 of the yellow pads. So we used this and this combination, and you saw I talked about the procedure we used. We probably could have gone to something more aggressive, a more aggressive cutting compound, but I didn't want to because we weren't sure of the condition of the paint, how much paint was left on the car. I didn't have a depth gauge, and even if you did, those aren't terribly accurate. And so we just did a set of 4 passes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then went and blew out the pad, and then did another set of 3 with the correction compound. And then we finished the car with a 5-inch back, 6-inch faced yellow pad from Rupes. This is technically their medium polishing pad, or fine, I guess they call it their fine polishing pad versus their ultra fine. We actually finished on most paints. I find that the fine pad works better than the ultra fine with Sonex Perfect Finish. So after polishing, again, we were using eraser to wipe down, using the towels, using the polish removal towels. We ended up wiping the car down with Pluffles that are super soft, so these are good to have. I tend to wipe the car down at the very end. We ended up wiping the entire car down with CarPro Eraser, and I even got the more aggressive G-Technic panel wipe. I don't sell that, but that's something you might want to have in your arsenal, in your cabinet. I should probably get that in the store, so I might actually add that to the list to get some from my buddies at G-Technic. On the wheels, you saw Adam cleaning the wheels when I taught him how to denib. So we're using these wheel towels. This is what's called a Spectrum towel. It's the same towel as this, it just has an edge. I like the edge for wheels for some reason. It just seems to work well, and because we're dealing with a lot more dirt, we wiped the car down with that Optimum No Rinse, wiped the wheels down with Optimum No Rinse, then cleaned it with CarPro Eraser, and then we coated it. So let's talk about the coating and what you might need. So I'm a huge fan. You can see we've got a lot of it. Having Crystal Serum Light and EXO V4. So we put a combination of these two on the wheels. They're satin, and so what can happen if you put EXO on too soon, you can end up with cloudiness, but on a satin wheel that's really not going to happen. So we did Ultra right into EXO, right back to back. And so Adam did a coat of Crystal Serum Light after we showed him how to do it, and then he did an immediate coat, a single coat of EXO, just mainly due to time constraints. But I generally recommend doing 2 coats of EXO if you can. I used to carry C5. I've tried lots of different Kamikaze stands, G on rim, lots of different wheel coatings. CarPro's Deluxe. I just like using the flagship coating on the wheels and calipers. We didn't touch the calipers on the car because Adam's going to be getting brakes here shortly anyway. So we put this on the wheels. We also did it on the paint. And so 1 bag of this is all you would need for most cars. If you're doing an SUV, you probably need 2 boxes of EXO. That's why I buy EXO separately. But on a normal car, you'd be able to do 2 coats. This, you'd be able to do, again, you'd be able to do the wheels and everything. But if you're concerned, 1 bottle of Crystal Serum Light will last you almost 2 cars. But if you're concerned about having enough product, this is what you would want to get for the process. On both the wheels and the paint, the application, I packaged these, prepackaged these in sets of 5, but these are CarPro little satin, what are they? Suede, not satin, suede applicators, and we put it on a CarPro applicator block like so. You can take 1 at a time. You can tuck it into the little edges. I'd probably buy 2 of these blocks and I like to have these in my cabinet, so I'd probably buy 5 of these packs if I were you in order to complete the project. After the coatings are done on both the wheels and the paint, we used probably 10 of these green towels. These are $1.20, super cheap. This is a 240 GSM towel, really lightweight. I like really low pile towels when I'm removing coatings, and I'll usually have one first wipe and another second wipe. And you'll go through, let's say, a dozen towels in an average, coating job, if you will, on a car. And so you want to buy these. They're cheap enough that you can buy a few. I do offer a microfiber package, which I might suggest, and I'd actually suggest 2 sets of the complete microfiber packages if you want to build out a really great arsenal like what we were using with the army of people that we had. We didn't touch the interior, so I'll save that for another video. We dealt with the exterior only. If we had touched the engine bay, we would have used all-purpose cleaner and hyper dressing diluted 4:1. So we would have done that. Adam's probably going to pull the engine and clean the bay and repaint it. So we didn't address that, but that's how we would have done it. We would have also used some of the race glaze brush. We would have used this to clean up the engine bay, and we would have used this to clean the tires. One thing I did miss, so Bryce, you were right, I wouldn't get it all in one fell swoop. We use this to clean the tires. Stoner's Car Care's Stoner tree sap remover that's called Terminator. So we used this on the tires and then followed after we were done at the very end with CarPro Pearl and that race glaze brush I just showed you. We diluted this 2:1 or 50, I guess 1:1, so 50-50. Basically take half of this bottle and put it in a spray bottle, dilute it with water, spray it on, apply it with the race glaze brush, and then wipe it off. And so that's the product we use there. A couple other little tools that we use. In here, the lights, when we turn all the lights on, you can really effectively use them because it's so well lit to follow scratches and swirls and things like that. But we did use some other lights, various lights to track the coating, make sure it was all done properly. So we used my Scan Grip line light. This is the line light. What do they call this one? The mini line light. It's over here. Yeah, I think you're right. Line light. Line light R. So we use the line light R. We also use the line light C+R, and then we use some of these other lights as well. So these are all a luxury. You could get by with one of them. So we used various lights like the PD35 Tactical Edition, Obsessed Garage version. We use this light, but again, very sparingly. I find that when I work in here, I don't use light as much. When I work at my house, I'm using lights like crazy because the light in here is so great. We used the the mini match. We used the Sun Match 3, so we use this light as well. So these are some of the things you might want to get longer term. The other thing I missed is we taped off the car. Most of it testing out the new poly tape, precision poly tape, and I stock precision tape. I thought about it after doing the process. We're going to detail my Corvette and my GT3 RS here soon. But these two, I think having both of them might make sense to have in your cabinet. I like them both for different applications. This one's a little bit more contourable, or this is a little easier to work with, a little easier to actually apply. So I think both of them might make sense to have. Other things that we used a lot of mini pads as well, so small pads. I used 1-inch Lake Country microfiber cutting, so we have those as well. And then we ended up not needing very many, but I think I used 1 or 2 of the Nano finishing pads as well. So I do have different packages for the Nano. That's the other polisher I missed. You were right, I'm going to miss all kinds of stuff. We're working on a project here. We actually ended up using the Nano. We used the short neck and the long neck with the dual action 12mm orbit on the machine. So we use these to do some of the finer work you saw me using around the windows and stuff like that. On the windows, we used the same Jescar correction compound and the microfiber cutting pads, the Lake Country and the other. Last product we used to wash is my bucket package. God dang, this place is a mess. So another thing I forgot we used was the Obsessed Garage bucket package. We used this when we were obviously deconning, washing the car, and prepping it. So those are the products we used in the process. Oh shoot, another one, Meguiar's M39. We used this to clean up some of the trim. We used a little bit of sprayable isopropyl alcohol as well. That gives you a good idea of the products. We'll list them all in the description here so you can go to the website and buy them. We pack and ship this stuff all over the world. So, you know, thanks for honoring the source if I was any help to you in figuring out the process. And you saw, you know, in the video, you can teach anybody to do it. You know, Adam was coating by the end of the day and polishing the car. So anyway, thanks for watching this series. I was really surprised at how well the car came out, and excited for Adam that he doesn't have to tear the whole thing apart and repaint it. It was really, really surprising to see how it did. I was really pleased with the outcome. So anyway, thanks for watching this series. Thanks for bringing us along in your life, and yeah, stay tuned for more crazy. I've got more series coming with the Corvette, the GT3. I probably need to correct my Raptor as well soon too. Thanks for watching.